Have you ever loved a certain side character so much that you wished they had their own story? Hey guys, Nina here. My amazing Blue Lagoon cocktail and I welcome you to More Than Fiction. Cheers. This is good. So guys, let's get down to business. Have you ever loved a certain side character so much that you wished they had their own story? Because yeah, same. Guilty as charged. So that's why I want to discuss a topic that I think might be of interest to a lot of you guys. TV characters who deserve their own show. We've all watched a certain series and fallen in love with a side character that we thought literally stole the show. Sometimes to me it even happened that those side characters were the main reason I kept watching. But sadly, they just didn't get the screen time that they deserved. So today, I'm giving the spotlight to these characters who deserve their own spin-off. You're definitely not going to want to miss these picks, so let's start with one of the most iconic anti-heroes in TV histories. Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Spike. I mean, this guy literally made Buffy the Vampire Slayer the show that it is for me. He was the main attraction. A lot of the times when I kind of wasn't sure anymore if I should watch or not, he just kept me going. Buffy the Vampire Slayer as a show as a whole is great, but he was definitely my favorite. And if you haven't watched that yet and you have no idea who I'm talking about, you should. So Spike, played by James Marsters, by the way. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing his surname correctly. I apologize in advance. He had this kind of enigmatic, dangerous charisma from the moment we first saw him. James is one of those actors who just has the ability to literally pull you in. Even the way he looked was so different and so edgy. Initially a villain, let's not forget he wanted to take our girl Buffy down. He quickly became a fan favorite and his character arc was one of the most complex in the entire TV show. But the thing is, Spike's story didn't really end with Buffy or with Angel, as a matter of fact, which is a spin-off from Buffy. There's so much unexplored potential for a spin-off series. Imagine this. A show about Spike's adventures post-Angel in which he tries to navigate his identity. He's no longer the villain that we first met, but he's not exactly a typical hero either. Spike is kind of caught between his vampiric and human nature, and that's why, as a character, he's so interesting to navigate. And as an audience, we enjoy watching that. I can see the show diving into a struggle with redemption. Can a character like Spike ever truly be good after all? However, if you ask me, he already redeemed himself and all good, in my opinion. Also, think about the comedic possibilities. Spike's snarl and sarcasm were one of the best parts of Buffy and Angel. Like, I don't think this show is specified as a comedy, but I laughed my ass off. I laughed here more than I ever laughed with any comedy movies or TV shows. Because of Spike. So you'd have this perfect mix of supernatural action, character depth, and humor. Plus, he's also got plenty of enemies from his past, both human and demon, so there's literally like endless room for chaos. A Spike-centered series could also dive into his backstory, which we kind of saw bits and pieces of already in Buffy, and it was fascinating, by the way. He was such a good human before he got turned. And even at the beginning, when he turned, he wasn't all that bad. So his relationships before and after he got turned would be captivating to watch in like a more deeper way. It could switch between past and present, showing the evolution of a character who's always walking the line between villain and anti-hero. And I can just imagine the outfits from the 70s and 80s. Oh my god. And I think for most of his life, he was in New York. So that setting would be amazing. And let's be real, we all know Spike has some unfinished business in his romantic life as well. Whether that be with Buffy or someone else, there's a lot of room for emotional depth. A Spike spin-off would give us more of the character we love and dive deeper into the layers that made him so compelling. Okay, give me a second to drink some of this cocktail. So good. Next up, we have one of the strongest and most honorable characters of Game of Thrones, our beloved Brienne of Tarth. From the moment she appeared on screen, Brienne, played by Gwendolyn Christie, shattered every stereotype there is about female knights. Her unwavering loyalty and her commitment to her code of honor made her a fan favorite. But here's the thing, Brienne's story isn't really over now, is it? By the end of Game of Thrones, she's been knighted, serves as Lord Commander of the King's Guard, and writes Jaime Lannister's story in the Book of Brothers. But what's next for her? We haven't really seen her as Lord Commander and how she deals with the complicated politics that come in, the post-war King's Landing. A spin-off could dive into Brienne's leadership journey as she navigates a new world, one that isn't shaped by war, but by peace. Look at me being all poetic and shit. Imagine a series where Brienne is faced with moral dilemmas about maintaining justice in a land still recovering from chaos. She's an honorable warrior, but she still lives in a world that doesn't always value honor. Her journey would be rich with political intrigue, emotional growth, and of course, incredible fighting sequences. And let's not forget about the human side of Brienne. How does she deal with moving on from Jaime? Does she ever allow herself to love again? A show about Brienne could explore her as both a leader and a woman who has sacrificed so much of her personal life for her duty. Now let's talk about my third surprise character that I didn't reveal yet. And I just want to start out by saying that I chose this character because this is a TV show that I grew up with. It's like my first baby, my first love. And it's a character that I really didn't like from the beginning and I thought was gonna be killed off pretty soon, but surprised me immensely. And of course, I'm talking about the lovely Caroline Forbes from The Vampire Diaries. So Caroline had one of the most impressive character evolutions on the show like ever, because at first she seemed like your stereotypical high school mean girl, super bratty and just irrelevant. Like I said, I thought she was gonna be killed off very, very soon. But as the series went on, she transformed into a strong, compassionate vampire, as weird as that sounds, with a fierce sense of loyalty and some powerful maternal instincts. Who would have thought? And what makes Caroline a perfect candidate for her own show is that her story is far from over. By the end of The Vampire Diaries and even the originals, Caroline had grown into a leader and a mother, but there's so much more that can be explored, especially after the finale. Oh my gosh, my neighbor's dog escaped. He's like chasing him across the... Oh, poor guy. Hopefully he catches him. Back to the point. Back to the story. First off, Caroline's role as a mother to Alaric's twins could be a really cool focal point for a new series. Raising magical kids is never gonna be easy, and I would really love to see how Caroline balances this motherhood with her own personal struggles with being a vampire. How does she protect them from supernatural dangers? Like, even the supernatural dangers that would be included in the show could be really cool. And how does she guide them and deal with that while she's also discovering her own strengths and her own powers? Like, I can literally envision a Vampire Diaries spin-off where Caroline is in the center, dealing with the chaos of motherhood, magic, and maintaining her own identity at the end of the day. But beyond the domestic drama, there's also the fact that Caroline is pretty powerful and we never really saw her be that powerful in action. We never saw her tap into her potential entirely. So there's so much more room for exploration and character growth there. Plus, let's please not forget about the romance, which is literally the thing that I crave most from a spin-off. Of course, I'm talking about Klaus. Before anyone attacks me, I'm not one of those people who is super obsessed with her and Klaus. I honestly thought her romance with Stefan was pretty cute too. But her and Klaus were on another level, and I just wish we got more of that. I'm gonna pretend I don't know what happens at the end of the originals. Like, Klaus is still like traveling the world in my head somewhere, and they could just maybe meet up and rekindle that, you know? Maybe we could get like another love triangle where she's torn between him because he's such a bad boy and she's still not sure, or another powerful supernatural figure. But of course, at the end, she would choose him. Like, the romantic tension would be chef's kiss, and it could add an extra emotional weight to the series. I mean, Klaus and Caroline, a love story that never was. Plus, Caroline has always been a character who balances her dark side with the desire to be good. So her internal struggle combined with other supernatural factors that would surely come into play in the show would be such a good plot point and story. Whether she's battling rogue witches or trying to build a safe life for her and her daughters, there's no shortage of drama and adventure for Caroline Forbes. So these are the 3 characters that I think deserve their own TV shows. Spike, the lovable, snarky anti-hero, Brienne of Tarth, the fearless and honorable knight, and Caroline Forbes, the strong-willed vampire and mother. Each of these characters has so much untapped potential, and I know I'm not the only one who would love to see more of them. So what do you think? Would you tune into a show about Spike, Caroline, or Brienne? And are there any other characters who you think would deserve their own spin-off? Let me know in the comments. I might make a video about those too. And also, if there are any book characters that you think deserve their own book, also let me know, because I discuss books on this channel as well. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, rate me, and click the notification bell for more content like this. Bye!